What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the top of the map in the blue color, playing as Ra. His name is Grandmonster. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Isis. His name is JoeyBadz. The baddest Joey there ever was. Does that work? Or is that Leroy, bad, Leroy Brown. Yeah, it's different, never mind. Baddest guy in the whole dang town. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. However, both players actually doing something fairly peculiar here in the early game, sending out their villager, searching for the water when the water is indeed at the back of their base. Now, this is something that I can imagine may have confused players who read an early post by a certain Chrono JJ. And you do have to do your own research when you play in this sort of a tournament, because certain authority figures might be trying to tilt the favors in their way rather than their opponents. Rather than for the general benefit of the entirety of the Age of Mythology population, if you know what I'm saying here. Certain Chrono JJ may have dropped a certain nearly truth bomb that water always spawns at the front of one's base. This is in fact not true. Water can indeed spawn on the backside of one's base, as we are seeing on this map. Both players spotting it though, as we will see. The dock going to get dropped down here by Grandmonster. Nearly, he's just trying to find his fish, but has not yet found it. Going to be dropping a dock down somewhere kind of ish here. This is a very, very interesting map. I don't actually think I've seen this exact layout before, as I'm going to be showing it off here. There's a big amount of landmass on both players' sides. This could be confused as safe fish. However, if you look at where the entrance to this side of the fish is, it's actually just as close as the entrance to this side. And I love that. I love this map. This map is effectively Anatolia in a big way, but an incredibly cool Anatolia, because each one of these fishing locations here, there is enough room in the water, unlike Anatolia, for archer ships to hang out. This is beautiful. Archer ships hang out here. They can cut off the fish without being worried about getting hit by the dock. And there's also a whole bunch of fish randomly. And I love this from JoeyBadz. Look at this. Fishing ship going on an adventure? No. Fishing ship doing scouting work by the gods, for the gods, and by the wish of the gods. The gods would wish that their controller, their I don't know, their plebeian, would scout for them and show them where best they should be telling them to put another dock. And we are actually seeing now Grandmonster seeing the exact layout of this map, moving down to the bottom here. He's going to be happy to see all of that fish there. Still eating his hunt over here. He does have the double rhino on his base. Unlike JoeyBadz, who's actually opted to go for the chicken first, saving his rhino for a little bit later. A little bit of a question mark maneuver there, if you ask me, as JoeyBadz now going to be dropping down his temple. If we can now show us off some of the old cheeky resources here. Because both players didn't find their their fish super early here, it seems like they're both a little bit confused about exactly what they need to do here. The Pharaoh has now scouted the fish on the bottom side of the map as well, and he is going to be realizing, drat, I have picked the wrong strategic idea here. He will be advancing for 520-ish here, with JoeyBadz yet again starting the game with a fishing lead. However, JoeyBadz here, 26 of 38 population, he's actually found himself in the early game down 2 villages on Grandmonster, even though he's up on fishing ships. So he's technically in front, but not as in front as he really should be. As we'll see how it's all going to go here as the game shapes up. Only opting for 4 villagers on the wood over here, as he's still trying to pump out those fishing ships on both sides here. Absolutely love that. It's not safe fish, as I have already said here. And we'll see how this game is going to turn out, as Grandmonster wants more houses down, as a little bit of idle fishing ship action going on. Idle villager action going on. Another dock coming up over here, wanting those to come out nearly immediately would be great. More houses coming up here for Grandmonster. I must say, I haven't seen Grandmonster playing a whole lot in recent memory, so the rust levels are real, though Age Mythology is a lot like riding a bike. If you don't ride a bike for quite some time, you will still be able to ride said bike. You just might feel a little bit uncomfortable. And that's kind of what it's like in Mythology as well. You need a couple of long trips to get all of that immediacy back and knowledge. You're not going to fall off too badly. You're not going to fall off the bike, but it's just not going to feel as natural as it once would. As Grandmonster wandering forward, and he is indeed going for this fast second town center here. Makes perfect sense here for Grandmonster. Wants to kick his economy into overdrive. We'll see if that's what JoeyBadz is going to want to do. He does have himself Bast. Fishing economy plus Isis is one of the scariest things in the game for a 2-town center player. The reason being is the fishing economy gives a ton of extra food, which means you can go elephant. And elephant are tough to kill and are effectively siege weapons. So we'll see what's going to happen here as JoeyBadz moving over onto this gold mine right now. One thing that a lot of newer players aren't really aware of is that you do need to fix these gold villages up. If you build a mining camp, and we do see JoeyBadz doing that here, perfect demonstration of exactly what I was going to say. If you build your gold mining camp in the most efficient spot, which is on the long side of the rectangular gold mine, you then need to move the villages such that they are all mining underneath it. This allows 7 villages to be mining without having to walk at all, which is the most optimal. And then you can also throw a mining camp over here, though it's arguable that these villages are going to be mining a lot more efficiently than to an unempowered mining camp on this location here. So haven't seen an armory coming down just yet for JoeyBadz, as his town center over here, as Grandmonster's town center is up. And Grandmonster getting himself Shadoof. Definitely going to be looking to farm here. This is a very bizarre decision from Grandmonster. He's getting himself Plow. He's getting himself Shadoof. He's got a lot of food remaining, and he has the fishing economy. He could go and fish at the top side of the map as well, if he so chooses. But it's not happening here. We are seeing the Sphinx coming through. The Pharaoh, unfortunately, is incredibly drunk, sees a 5.3 speed Sphinx and realizes he can't hit that to save his life. Unlike a much more sober Odysseus, for example, or a priest who never drinks, they would both be able to hit said Sphinx. Anyways, armory is up now. This dock is up. JoeyBadz could definitely be thinking about getting a couple more fishing ships out. He is only at 16. I've seen people healthily going up to 23, 25 fishing ships. That's really not a real limit to your fishing ship population, because if you want to go up to 30 or 40, you just don't need as many actual villagers, because you can just go like mass food units and live the dream where that's concerned. Fishing ships with Salt Amphora are faster than villagers farming flood control husbandry farms. So there is that to keep in mind, as JoeyBadz now going to be advancing a little bit slower than Grandmonster, who's now also getting himself a 3rd town center on the bottom of this map here. An interesting decision, but a decision nonetheless. Somehow Grandmonster has managed to find himself in the heroic age before a 1-town center JoeyBadz, but some of that can be explained by the lack of fishing ships that Grandmonster has actually made here, as we are seeing Grandmonster going to be grabbing this mining camp in the front of the front of the town center, and we'll see if he's going to be throwing up a whole bunch of Migdols here. Something that I have seen Ra players do to great success in trying to defend against an ISIS is they be very greedy. Maybe they just go 2 town centers normally on a non-fish map. But the idea is you force a you make a weakness in your position by getting a stupid town center, and then you make it not a weakness by throwing up multiple Migdols. So we'll see if that's Grandmonster's idea here in order to try and hold the ancestors. Because if one Migdol goes down, you still have the second one to keep training units. It's not the end of the day. Not only that, double Migdol is able to keep on shooting and defending said location as well. As we are seeing JoeyBadz now going to be throwing up his own Migdol. Lots of food in the bank. He is very much on the opposite side to where he would need to be targeting down this, as the priest does spot the Migdol up. We see a Siege Works coming down. Grandmonster still not training any units just yet. Has started his farms. And this is actually really, really interesting from Grandmonster. The idea, I think, here is he wants to cast Rain as he expects a potential Ancestors Eclipse to come in. As we do see a Locust getting dropped on this location. A brutal Locust at that, picking off every one of those villages. Not only picking off every one of those villages, but also denying the Migdol and any potential timings that JoeyBadz is going to have for a very long time. Because not only are the villagers dead, but JoeyBadz is going to have to send villagers over here to deal with this. As the Pharaoh going to be trying to take down the Rock over here. He almost goes down, as the Rock does live with 47 HP. The Patsukos does get picked off, and the Rock going to be making a break for it. It is 4.0 speed apiece here, so not enough to really do anything. But the Priest is here to catch the Rock in its escape route. Nice play from Joey. Good awareness to use that Priest there, as the Migdol stronghold is going to get completely denied and Joey has to return back home. Joey does have enough resources to actually advance to the Mythic Age here, as we are seeing a Migdol stronghold getting thrown up on this gold mine, as Joey is on the back foot. And we are seeing what looks to be Osiris here from JoeyBadz. 1 town center fast mythic in this game through Osiris, which is not a very aggressive god. We'll see if it's going to work for Joey. I think this is more of a desperation play, finding himself with enough resources to advance than anything else. But the Migdol going to be coming up now. We do see Grandmonster coming in to just check on things. He sees the Migdol up. He sees the gold mine here. And right now, Grandmonster's got a couple of options. He can greedily grab another town center over here, get himself the 4th town center advantage. He can cast Rain, try and get to the Mythic Age here if he has a marker down. He can cast Rain and spam trade route as well as another option, as we are seeing the siege towers wandering through here. And Grandmonster does decide to cast his Rain right now as the siege towers are rolling in, which does deny a Ancestors defense here, as Grandmonster is definitely going to be wanting to try and hit his own Mythic Age behind all of this, as the siege towers are rolling forward here to take down this temple. We see the siege tower getting shanked down here as the villager gets sniped out. And these siege towers are going to be trying to deny the Osiris. This could be actually brutal here if this town center goes down before the Osiris pops, which is definitely looking like it's possible here. As the town center, there's no villagers to defend it 80% of the way through. If this siege tower comes over to assist in the process, we're at 85%. Town center's at 700 resource, 700 HP, 500 HP. It's going down incredibly fast. We're starting to see JoeyBadz. He sends in 1 camel. It's not going to be enough. The town center is denied, and JoeyBadz goes back up to 2,000 resources, 1,800 gold. And what can JoeyBadz do now but cast Ancestors Eclipse? He's casting it on the villagers here. Grandmonster is up to 2,500 food right now. The villagers, like Grandmonster's already at 80 villagers here. Even if JoeyBadz picks off every single one of these villagers, Grandmonster is just going to be able to rebuild them in about a minute here, because he's got 4 town centers and basically infinite food. And now what can JoeyBadz do? He doesn't have the buildings to spend all the resources. He's trying to spend them on cavalry here, which isn't even that good against Ra, whose cavalry and chariot archers are better than the ISIS players. And now the Siege Tower is rolling through, going to try and take down their houses here as well. The Armory going to get taken down in the back here. We see the Ancestors trying to take down this town center. Ancestors Eclipse can actually finish off town centers pretty easily, actually. And it is looking like a town center of Grandmonsters might go down, but Grandmonster notices it, pulls the villagers out in the last moment, and is indeed going to be repairing that one back up and living the dream where that is concerned. What can JoeyBadz do right now? He's going for a town center up here. And this is looking very, very dicey for JoeyBadz. I don't see a whole lot. He's got no houses remaining either. He has to rebuild his houses as well. He's just lost everything here from this one push. And yet again, Grandmonster we might be seeing, if JoeyBadz doesn't tap out here, and this town center gets spotted, we could see a chance at that very disrespectful your opponent wins in 2 minutes text that can pop up. If your opponent controls all 6 town centers, you get a pretty disgusting text message coming up, and it feels very disrespectful in a big way. The other disrespect would be to just drop a Wonder down here. As we are seeing Horus coming through for Grandmonster as well. He's not even bothering with the Osiris here, which would be the natural pick against Isis. But we're seeing Osiris now coming through for JoeyBadz. But I imagine this one might get denied as well, as the Horus is going to hit first for Grandmonster, so he can just cast Tornado here as we see all the houses getting thrown up. JoeyBadz still so many resources in the bank here. The siege weapons slowly rolling forward. We've got 5 siege towers here. They're going to put a stop to this Migdol stronghold incredibly fast here. Signal fires coming through as well. Horus does hit on this location here. And when will that tornado get thrown down? Or will Grandmonster save it for whatever maniacal reasons he is thinking about here? As he's now got 6 siege towers. Osiris is 56% of the way forward. Here we see the barracks getting thrown up. There is no masons, no fortified town centers, and we do indeed see the tornado getting dropped here. All of the houses are going to be falling, but will this actually save the town center here? I mean, I don't think it will. As the cavalry move forward, the town center gets denied. JoeyBadz up to now 4,000 food, 3,000 gold. And in that moment, JoeyBadz taps out. GG, a sad end to JoeyBadz here from Grandmonster. Grandmonster being one of the best players in Age of Mythology, and JoeyBadz putting his hand up saying, yep, I want to participate in competitive Age of Mythology. This is what happens. You end up with, is that 7,000, nearly 8,000 resources in the bank. And you just got to work. Is it 8,000 exactly? Something like that. It's actually really close. This here is 1,000. And this here is, it's like 8,023 or something. Absolutely bonkers amounts of resources in the bank. And what can I say? I love this map. I think it's awesome. When players start working out the layouts, they'll start working out strategies to kind of go, okay, which land layout am I actually on? And then go from there. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider to follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next game.